Welcome back once again to another episode of Freaky Tales on this Freaky Fine Friday. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody on the live chat, everybody who decided not to be on the live chat, everybody just wants to relax, drink your Modelo, and eat your cup of noodles. Other than that, if you guys didn't get a chance to tune in on Wednesday, I had my special guest Afro here, and Afro did an amazing job. We talked about Ed Gein. I saw somebody on the chat that said, talk about somebody, did you say Peru or Colombia? If you can, email it to us at freakytalespodcast@gmail.com, freakytalespodcast@gmail.com. Remember that Tales is spelled with a Z at the end, not an S. freakytalespodcast@gmail.com. Send us all the info and we'll make sure to cover it. I believe you said that this person took out like 200 people, 200 kids or something like that. But other than that, if you guys didn't get a chance to check out the Afro episode, definitely check it out. Other than that, I wasn't going to go live today because I have a very, very busy weekend. I have a show tomorrow night. I have a show Sunday noon. I have a filming on Monday. And on Wednesday, for those of you guys that tune into Be Real TV, Dr. Green Thumb's podcast, me and High C will be on that podcast on Wednesday at 2 p.m. And then I'll be back Friday again with Freaky Tales, and then Sunday again. So there's a lot going on. And in between there, I have to have a life. So, but anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Other than that, please allow me to introduce someone who's no stranger to this podcast. Brandoe, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday, Tony.
Happy Friday. You know what? First and foremost, the last time I saw you, we were at the Mr. Cartoon event.
Yes.
WSS and Pro Club. And I said, you were in Pro Club today.
Yup.
Nice gear.
Big fan.
Yeah, and it's, first and foremost, I want to say that it was truly a blessing that they had any choice of any DJ that's been out there for a long time. Okay. But Mr. Cartoon specifically said, I want Tony A.
Now, I was wondering how that happened. Yeah. Not how it happened, but like the backstory for it.
Right. Well, that's pretty much what it was because they had access to like all the beat junkies and all other DJs. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Cartoon said, well, my beginning started at the Roding Swap Meet, like Tony's. And in order for us to have that feel, he has to be the DJ. So they also even put me on that trailer with his son. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I believe I reposted it.
Yeah. Yes, and they asked me, come through, let's do this. And I was just like, it was all love, bro.
It was curated very well. Like I had a really good time. I went solo too.
Yeah, the food was free, everything.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is just that, nobody said, can you give us a discount because Mr. Cartoon? No, they paid me what I asked.
Nice.
And he actually asked me, did you get paid? And I said, yep. And he goes, cool, thank you, man. We're going to do this again sometime. And I said, all good. I
got a picture with him, but my mouth was open. Like,
you shouldn't have said that.
Oh snap.
Because now they can screenshot that picture.
Oh, I haven't posted it yet.
All good, man. So what have you been up to now? Just once again, for the people that may not know, before we dive into it, I know you've already given the background. Right now, are you managing? Are you working at a record label? What is it that you do?
Yeah, I'm the marketing director for Thump Records, and then the event coordinator for the East Side Story car show, which we have one coming up November 15th in San Pedro.
Not too far from here.
Yeah, right on Birth 60.
All good. Anyways, let us jump right into it. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the news, a lot of trending topics, but we chose some topics that we're kind of familiar with. But before we do that, I always like to give movie recommendations. And I know you told me that you saw the new Conjuring. What's it called?
The Conjuring Last Rites.
The Last Rites. Mm-hmm. I asked, now, I'll tell you what my last guest said about the movie, but you kind of walk us through it. What was that like?
Well, let me start by saying, like, I'm not a fan of scary movies. Like, maybe it was the way that I was raised, in the church, religious background. So I was always conditioned, evil and just like scared. But Wifey Poo loves scary movies, and Wifey Poo likes movies that are based on true stories. So when I saw that it was based on a true story, I was okay. Yeah, like I can put the scary movie thing aside, like being scared. I get scared. I genuinely like get scared, and I don't find entertainment in losing my composure, like getting scared. But and then I just shouldn't say I made the mistake, but I went by myself.
Wow.
And I saw it in Dolby Stereo. So those, you get all the effects. It's real loud in your ears and stuff. But I mean, it was interesting again because it was based on a true story. But it's based on this couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I mean, they were real people, and they would, run around and be involved in exorcisms, and had a lot to do, just with certain events that took place that were supernatural or, demon oriented. And the movie is, do you want me to explain like what it's about?
Yeah. Why not?
So the movie is based on this antique mirror. So this inanimate object that ends up being like occupied by some demonic entities, plural actually. So the movie kind of jumps around a lot, but what you end up finding out is that this couple at one point in time had a child, and the child was stillborn, but the child ended up living. And then the guy, Ed Warren, ended up having like heart problems, and they took a break from doing all of that for 20 years. Well, this mirror ends up in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. This girl is having a party for her. She was a Catholic, so she had her confirmation.
No. I don't want you to spoil the movie for the people.
Okay.
I just wanted you to give us the overall view.
Okay.
Did you like it? Do you recommend it?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's because it's based on a true story. Yeah, I think it's worth. And if you like scary movies and like to be scared, yeah, I recommend that you see it.
Okay. I mean, because like I still want to see it, and I don't want you to ruin it for me.
All right.
But now I want to tell you, my last guest, he pretty much said off air that it sucked. Okay. And he likes those kind of movies, and he's a horror fan. He just on air, he pretty much said, I thought it was cool, it was all right, but off air he goes, it sucked. Don't even waste your time. But I said, okay, cool, But I mean, there's movies that I liked that he didn't like. Like, for example, the Netflix one with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it came out like 2 years ago, I believe. And I just said I thought it was a popcorn film. I just found it entertaining. I wouldn't say it was dope, but I just thought it was entertaining.
Right.
So, is this entertaining?
It is. I think Weapons is entertaining too. Not to get off subject. That was kind of popcornish.
Okay.
But this one entertaining because of the true story aspect to it.
Okay. Now, I had a guy here named Brian Clune. He's considers himself a paranormal expert, even though he doesn't like to say it, but he's been in it for many, many years. And he said amongst paranormal expert circles that Ed and Lorraine Warren are the biggest frauds ever.
Really?
The biggest frauds ever. And he's actually said it on the podcast because he's been here. Now, I will say this. Could that be hating because they made it?
Possibly. Or it could be true.
Or it could be true. Yeah. I'm going to bring his ass back, and we're going to see.
What I found interesting is that this particular demonic entity or entities had the ability to occupy an inanimate object, which was a mirror. And I thought, okay, wow. That's interesting.
Okay. Now, another one that you brought up was Weapons. He off air, he brought up that movie Weapons as well, and he enjoyed that one.
Okay.
So just recommend it. What did you think overall of that movie?
It was like entertaining, popcorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is it about other than the name telling us that it's Weapons? You don't have to give the whole story, but at least what is it about?
That's a good question. I really don't know why they would call it Weapons. They don't, unless I missed something, they don't really allude to why it's called Weapons. From the previews, you could tell it's about the school children, and they all just get up and go and disappear for an extended period of time, and the parents are all flipped out, and but maybe because the witchcraft or whatever behind it was weaponized.
Okay.
Possibly.
Okay. Have you seen Sinners?
Yes.
Okay. he hasn't seen Sinners. So would you recommend Weapons first?
I'd recommend Sinners first.
Okay, Sinners. What is that about?
Well, because it has a music aspect to it.
Okay.
So, it's the blues, but it has to deal with, demon possession as well.
Wow.
And I found it really entertaining. Like I liked it, the storyline and everything. But keep in mind, I have an AMC Stubs movie pass, so I get to see 4 movies a week. So it's not like, oh, is it worth this?
I see what you're saying.
20 some odd dollars, after you, whatever. I think it's probably more now when you get your popcorn and everything. So is it worth that investment of my money to be entertained? So I don't have that in front of me. It's like, oh, I get 4 movies a week. So let's just go. Sometimes I'll go without even knowing what it's about. And when I walk in, not knowing, that's when I find out like, oh man, I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Or if I go in with the predisposition, thinking I'm not going to enjoy it, I usually do.
Do you usually go by yourself?
Currently, yes. Yeah, currently, yes.
So if you guys happen to see him, just walk out there. What's up, Brandoe?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Buy him a hot dog.
Yeah.
So, okay, because by the time you buy a large Coke, hot dog, and a candy and some popcorn, that'll be $85, please.
Yeah, I would say it's like a good 35.
Like, damn, do I get a lap dance with this at least or what? But anyways, today we got some interesting topics that we're gonna, just to let you guys know ahead of time, we may not take phone calls, and I'll tell you why, because we had a technical difficulty with our headphone jack that for some reason we're only hearing out of one ear. So please don't get upset. We'll try, but if we don't, we'll get it right the next time. Anyways, other than that, one of the topics that we wanted to talk about was the Anunnaki. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'll be honest with you. When I started this podcast, I didn't know what an Anunnaki was. Okay, I didn't know if it's real, if it's fake, if somebody made it up, until I met a girl, honest to God truth, that she told me her blood is so rare, she believes that she has Anunnaki blood.
What?
Yes. Okay. Now, do I believe her? Probably not, because I don't even know enough about this. Okay.
Right. It's not one of the most popular of that kind of topic.
Right. Now, I will say this: she is weird, but it's a cool weird.
Okay.
It's a cool weird, and if she's watching, then much love and respect. But she is weird.
Okay. Fair enough.
Now, let's be honest. Have you ever met like these people that like there's just something weird about them, but they're cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes.
Yeah, bro. Like I know a handful. I can count them on one hand. Okay. And just the weird stuff. Like for an example. The other day, I called this person, the one I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And I called and I said, hello, my psychic. And she goes, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. And I was like, what were you doing? She goes, I was meditating and you were the first person that popped into my head. And I was just meditating. And then the phone rings and you say, hello, my psychic. And then I was like, really? She goes, yes. And I said, okay. Quiz me. I don't know, give me something. She goes, okay. What color am I thinking about? And I go, red. And she goes, oh my God, you're one of us.
Oh, okay. Keep going. There's one of us.
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? What do you mean one of you? You know? But no, she goes, that's what I was thinking. And I was like, well, that's what I was thinking too. That was the first color that popped into my head, bro. But it was funny. She quizzed me like, what color am I thinking? I don't read minds. But when she asked me that, I just saw red.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you validated her feeling.
Her weirdness, I guess.
Her weirdness, yeah. So now she's like legit.
Maybe I'm an Anunnaki.
Even if she's not. Maybe you're
Tony A. The A stands for Anunnaki.
Oh.
See, there it is there. Okay. Playtime's over.
All right.
Okay, let's read a little bit about what an Anunnaki is. Hold on, let me skip this. Okay, boom. All right, everybody. From a little information I was able to get off the internet. Let me see. What is an Anunnaki? Anunnaki were a group of major deities in ancient Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian mythology, considered the descendants of the sky god Anu and earth goddess Ki, or Kai. It's Ki.
Ki, yeah.
Okay. While often portrayed as powerful divine beings in Mesopotamia texts, they also, you know what, Alex, did you download those pictures? Okay, bring up that one that looks like a tablet. It looks like a Babylonian. Okay, while often portrayed as powerful divine beings in Mesopotamian texts, they have also been interpreted in fringe theories as ancient astronauts responsible for creating humanity. Modern understanding based on textual analysis clarifies that the term refers to the gods of pantheon, not literal extraterrestrials. Okay. By the way, like I said, I don't know too much about this. I'm just giving you whatever I found on the internet, and then he's going to elaborate a little bit more. Okay, the Anunnaki were a collective of gods who played a crucial role in the Mesopotamian with key figures including Anu, Enlil, and Irki. I have a hard time pronouncing this.
Yeah, no, that's what. Yeah, I have a rough time like pronouncing.
Okay,
this
their role. They were believed to be responsible for decreeing the destiny of humanity and controlling various aspects of the world. Okay, depictions in art and text. They are depicted as human-like beings, sometimes larger than humans, wearing horn caps and ornate clothes.
Yeah, ornate, yeah.
Yeah, so some of these words, bro, I never even said before in my life. So, but go ahead and elaborate from what your understanding. Well, let me ask you this. When did you first hear of the Anunnaki?
I started hearing about the Anunnaki probably around 2016, 17. I was, on my alien research, and the Anunnaki is something that always comes up.
Okay.
But I feel because it's Sumerian culture, right, which that's not as popular as like Babylonian culture. It's not as popular. And then the names being hard to pronounce, like Enlil and Anu and all, it kind of like it loses people.
It does.
It loses people. But what I find interesting is that whether it's Sumerians, Assyrians, Canaanite Phoenicians, Babylonians, all of this, the setting takes place in the Mesopotamia, which is between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, which is modern day Iraq. So Babylon is modern day Iraq.
Now, I want to mention something, because you said from the Euphrates to the Tigris River. Those are two of the four rivers that supposedly flowed out of the Garden of Eden.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just thought that was interesting.
The cradle of Earth,
of everything.
cradle of humanity, if you will.
Yes.
And because of that, you find parallels with these. So Sumerians, the Assyrians, the Canaanite Phoenicians. There's parallels with because it's the same location, but thousands of years passes, so it gets remixed a little bit from what I can gather, in my personal opinion. So there's a lot of similarities between all of those cultures. And again, the common denominator is that it all takes place in that setting, in the Mesopotamia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what it appears to be to me is that, it was a pantheon. This is where they're deities. And the story is, well, I don't know about, An was the god of the sky, and Ki was the earth goddess. So you have this father, mother earth dynamic happening, which, is echoed throughout time in different belief systems. And they are responsible for creating humanity per their text. They're responsible for creating humanity. And at first, the humans that they created the main purpose were to be slaves, to mine gold. And then two of the offspring, there was two offsprings of the main deity, if I have my information correct, two offspring, and they kind of like battled each other, and one was more compassionate.
Okay.
And then changed the human to where they could procreate and make children and live not a slave life.
Okay. Now, like there's a guy, I don't know if he considers himself a scholar at this, but he's wrote about it. This was Billy Carson.
Okay. I'm not familiar with Bill Carson.
He's the guy that debated Wesley Huff and got demolished.
Okay.
He wrote that book, the Emeralds of Thoth.
Thoth.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. And he lost a lot of credibility because he went up actually against a scholar, and he considered himself one of the smartest humans on earth. Mm-hmm. That he was a scholar at this, he was a scholar at that, and when it came time to fact check, he had nothing correct.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was a nightmare for him. Okay. He talks a lot about the Anunnaki, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, okay? I don't know enough of it, but from what little I have heard, whether it be from you, whether it be from the so-called scholars, it sounds like a Star Wars type of movie.
Right. But I think in its original interpretation, it was some esoteric, spiritual, pantheon, God-human relationship type situation happening.
Right.
And then there was this guy named Zachariah Sitchin, and wrote a book and took it from it being that to these were humanoid extraterrestrials.
Okay.
And they came from a planet Nibiru. And the way that I, from just researching stuff, if you're basing our existence on the heliocentric model, meaning we're on Earth and we're spinning around the sun, there is another planet named Nibiru, which every so often, like every X amount of thousands of years, it gets close enough to where they can hop off that planet, hop on Earth, and share their advanced technology, their everything. Right. So it took us from dum-dums to being advanced humans. Okay.
Now, see, to me, this sounds like an amazing sci-fi movie.
Right. And it sounds like ancient aliens.
Right. Okay. Now let me ask you these. So these things were not humans.
Humanoids.
Okay. That's what my dad used to call them.
In the original sense, I don't know. Well, they created humanity. But when this guy wrote the book, he labeled them humanoids.
Okay.
Extraterrestrial humanoids.
Okay. So is there enough information out there? Because, like, let me give you an example. At least, like, when people say the Bible has been rewritten. It hasn't been rewritten. It has been translated to different translations, whether it's the NIV, whether it's the Message, whether it's the Amplified with the New American Standard, the King James, the New King James. It's all the same word, okay? Mm-hmm. Except for the Message and the NIV. I won't read those. But now, at least we have, fragments, scrolls that date back to the first century. Mm-hmm. Where we can, like, for an example, at the Temple Institute in Jerusalem, they have an entire scroll of the book of Isaiah, which talks about the birth of Christ, okay? You could take your King James, and if you could read Hebrew, you could translate it word for word, okay? Do we have anything like that for the Anunnaki that they actually existed?
Like a Dead Sea Scrolls to validate?
Yes, any type of thing to validate that these things actually existed. That's what I always like to ask for. Now, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just throwing this out in general in case somebody out there knows. Maybe you could share that information, because I really would like to dig deeper instead of just reading somebody's book.
Right. So what some people claim is that since, like, the Anunnaki, the Sumerian culture or the Sumerian civilization, the Assyrian civilization, the Canaanite Phoenician civilization predates the time period of when the Bible was written.
Correct.
That the people who composed the Bible were taking bits and pieces of these older civilizations, pantheons, or ideas, and incorporating it into what we know as the scriptures. Now, that's up for debate.
And I'm glad you said that, because I just recently heard that. Not that it was interesting, not that I believed it, but I thought it was interesting. that somebody said that the people that wrote the Bible. I'm like, well, name some of the people that wrote the Bible then, because you got to know if you're a scholar. Mm-hmm. But they were saying that they took it and they incorporated. And it sounded great. I wanted to write the guy and tell him, hey, man, put that on a script and give it to Steven Spielberg. And I'm sure he'll make an amazing movie, because some of it just sounds so sci-fi to me,
I think when they turn it into an ancient alien theory, it does.
Yes. But nevertheless, it's interesting.
Uh-huh.
It's very interesting. Before we change the channel, anything else you care to share on that? Or where can people, you can go on your phone and just look up enough information about them.
Yeah, and you'll get a lot of different interpretations or perspectives. So you have to use your God-given discernment and, weed through it all.
Right.
And figure out.
And this is just a question, a rhetorical question, pretty much like, are Anunnaki still alive today?
Well, that's why when you just mentioned the female friend of yours that said, I have their blood, it kind of threw, well, how do you determine that?
She just said
23andMe have.
Yeah, she said it was so rare, like the percentage of people that have her blood, and I was just like, I mean, she probably does have rare blood, but don't say it's Anunnaki, you don't know.
I mean, I've heard people claim they're indigenous, but going all the way back to the Anunnaki seems
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. So anyways, yeah, but I don't know. You know what? Maybe one day I'll bring her as a guest.
But I do find it interesting. Like they have this concept of a God from the sky and a Mother Earth. And, and they were advanced. I mean, something I read said that one of the brothers that took humanity and wanted to create a better situation for them, actually, that's the explanation for how people got to Atlantis. If you believe in, or if you're educated or have information about Atlantis, because that was supposed to be advanced and prosperous, and humanity was doing great, and then someone came and destroyed it. So that would be the other brother, if I'm understanding it correctly. So he created a little safe haven for them, which would lend credence to the idea that Atlantis existed.
Do you believe that it existed?
I don't know. I preach the gospel of I don't know on that one.
That's a good one. That's a good answer. That's a wise answer. Instead of trying to find $20 words that's unintelligent and trying to justify why it does or why it doesn't exist, I don't know.
Because when more information comes in, my views are subject to change.
Yeah.
I take things into consideration and use discernment and
Like my brother, the spice smuggler, he says with more information coming in, he goes, my views are starting to change, so I understand what you mean by that.
And the minute that you think you have it figured out, you don't.
You don't.
That's your ego talking. And you don't have it figured out. Because I can't say it that way, but in my experiences, when there's been times in my life where I got a good grasp on this. This is how things are. This is how it all happened. I don't.
Right.
I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm glad.
You have to stay humble. You really do have to stay humble.
I agree.
Human ego doesn't allow some people to
there's some people that can have all the knowledge in the world, but you could be so arrogant and so full of yourself that people wouldn't care to listen to you.
Right. And I like when I'm wrong, because that's when I learn. That's a learning experience.
That's when you learn.
That's when you learn.
There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, you know what, I was wrong.
Right. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I stand corrected. You know what? After further review, I'm going to have to change my position on that topic.
I'm usually never wrong, but but you know what? But my whole thing is like, hey, you know what? Like, educate me, don't belittle me.
Right.
Because I have gotten into discussions with people where they're like, that was stupid. And I'm like, no, well, you're stupid for acting like that.
Right.
Right. Educate me then.
Right.
I told you I don't know.
Right.
And you say, give me your guess. So you thought my guess was dumb.
Them lashing out is their defense mechanism.
Yeah.
To protect what they think their idea of existence or whatever the case may be is true.
Yeah. So it's best to say, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Teach me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and change the channel, and we're going to talk a little bit about reptilians. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring that reptile face up. Now, somebody said this, and tell me if you heard about this. Mm-hmm. Do you believe Barack Obama's a reptilian?
I don't. I've never seen him shapeshift. You know, I hear the same things about Hillary Clinton. I mean, I haven't witnessed it. I don't know if I even necessarily fund belief into the idea of literal reptilians. I did at one moment in time.
Really?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I did. I was like, okay, yeah, this shit's real.
Okay, before we get there, because I want to pick up right there.
Okay.
I want to know what made you believe that at one point in your life you actually believed.
Okay.
And I like that you said once again earlier, as more information comes in, my stance on it may change. Okay, so here we go. Reptilians are mythical, shape-shifting reptilian humanoids who, according to a popular conspiracy theory, secretly controlled the Earth. The idea, popularized by British conspiracy theorist David Icke. He spells it wrong, but well, different. Alleges that their beings manipulate human societies by infiltrating positions of power by taking on human form. Okay, the origins and central claims. The theory was developed by David Icke, who claims that an interdimensional race of reptilians being known as the Archons or the Anunnaki has hijacked the planet. A Babylonian brotherhood described by Icke as a human Archon hybrid race is said to include many world leaders and public figures. The list supposed reptilians has included Queen Elizabeth II and multiple U.S. presidents. The supposed goal of the reptilians is to manipulate humanity through fear in order to maintain control and push towards a global facet state or a new world order. Now, I know about the new world order. I just didn't know that this guy, David Icke, included these reptilians in being part of it. I didn't know that they were supposedly world leaders.
He took the Anunnaki concept and then said they were reptilian, shape-shifting reptilians. So he built on the Anunnaki idea and introduced this reptilian idea.
Okay.
And I personally think David Icke is a shill or controlled opposition, but even controlled opposition has to share truth in order to be believed. Because some of the stuff has to fact check. Like you have to be able to fact check.
Right.
And so they have to see, I told you, and then they start moving the narrative a little bit over here with some lies, and then start,
Okay, so shapeshifter is a lizard that could turn into a human, or a human that could turn into a lizard?
Yes.
Okay. It's almost like the old school black and white movies, Lon Chaney turns into a werewolf.
Yeah.
When he sees the moon.
Yeah.
The full moon. So that's what they're pretty much saying, that these people can change into reptilians.
But I don't think it's triggered by like a moon in that scenario. Right. But they could just, on demand, shapeshift.
Like Superman could.
Yeah, it's shapeshift.
Okay. So take me back to the time in your life where you actually thought that this was real. What kind of convinced you, and how did you get introduced to the reptilian?
It was the alien thing again. Doing research on aliens, and the theory is that they come from the constellation Orion. And so it comes from just like studying the Orion constellation and what the influence the Orion constellation has had on this world. Like the Nazi death marches were in the shape of the constellation of Orion. Supposedly the underground tunnels that run underneath the United States are in the shape or the formation of Orion. What else is Orion? I mean, there's Job and other, but there's like 3 verses in Job that mention the Orion, that meant the bands of Orion. Or I'll tell you right now, I have it right here.
Yeah, take your time.
And it's in Job. It's in Job 38:31. Canst thou bind the sweet influence of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? And then in Job 9:9, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades in the chambers of the south. Now,
I want to say this. Just because it mentions that Orion, do you believe that it's mentioning the same Orion that these people are talking about?
I believe that it's mentioning the constellation Orion.
Okay.
They didn't have movies. They stare up at the sky.
Right.
That was their, their entertainment, if you will. So, little things, okay, well, it's biblical, there's some biblical aspect to it. And so...
it kind of makes it more believable for people then.
Right, like, oh, well, maybe there's a there,
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, it came from researching aliens, because I did, fund belief in aliens.
Did you ever meet an alien?
No, not an extraterrestrial alien.
I'm just asking.
So, yeah, and then, because a lot of the stuff has been scrubbed, some of the stuff has been scrubbed, but I saw an explanation. Okay, so now we're going back to the elite, and the idea of the elite being reptilians, shape-shifting reptilians. Well, I think we're all familiar with the Black Eye Club. You ever notice that some of these elite people, you'll see pictures of the Pope with the black eye, George Bush with the black eye, actors and artists.
This is the first time I've heard of that, but it sounds freaky.
The Black Eye Club.
Like, does somebody sock them up?
That's what it looks like. So is that part of a ritual where they get socked in the left eye?
Like, come here, bro. Bah!
You got like Left Eye from TLC. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, so everything's normal, and then they show up with the black eye with no explanation, and it's always the elite. Now, maybe you could chalk it up. Maybe George Bush took a spill coming out of the shower one day.
Right.
Busted his eye. But it happens too frequently with different people in an elite category, in my opinion, to be a coincidence. I don't know the exact explanation, okay? But I can identify that these people do show up with black eyes, and there is a thing called the Black Eye Club. Now, back to the reptilians. I had done some research, and it gave an explanation of what it was in theory, that they would go into these rituals, and the reptilian would be able to like release its tail, and it would be its own, organism, and it would go into the eye of the human and then wrap around the optical nerve of the initiate, okay? And then that human would then become the host for this reptilian entity, and then slowly but surely, then they're able to shapeshift and do freaky things.
Wow. That's pretty crazy, bro.
Right.
The part that got me was this, okay? Described by Ike as a human Archon hybrid race, is said to include many world leaders and public figures. That's the part that got me. Like, they target big people. Mm-hmm. For what reason? For power, obviously?
Right. Well, they have, like, knowledge that we're not privy to. They have access to information, knowledge, esoteric knowledge, whatever, that we don't as regular people.
Now, what made you now look back and say to yourself, like, you know what, I did believe at one point, but now I don't? Was there something that you saw, that you read, did more info come in? Was there just not enough info? What was it that made you feel like, okay, maybe I don't believe anymore?
I took the position of funding a belief into the firmament, commonly known as flat Earth.
Okay.
I think the word flat Earth is a little bit misleading, because you just think it's just flat, but there is like a dome, like a protective dome, the firmament. Okay. And the firmament can be found in the book of Genesis, and God divided the waters from below and above, etc. So once I started digging into that, I'm like, well, there's no way that they could, if they come from the constellation Orion, that they could break through this firmament and, have access to us. That's where I'm at right now. It could change. I could get more information. It could change. But as it stands right now, that's where I'm at. You even look... So I feel that these things, these concepts and ideas are symbolic and esoteric in nature, not exoteric, meaning not literal, not physical. They're esoteric, like a snake in the Bible. I know the common interpretation that it's evil, Lucifer or Satan, but it also in the Bible means wisdom. And I think we discussed it one time when Jesus said something about wise as snakes and something as a dove. And you quoted
wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove.
Right.
Right.
So in some cultures of ancient time, the snake or the reptile represented wisdom. So I took all that into consideration, took the firmament into consideration, and said, you know what, I'm going to step back. I'm going to put a pause on what I refer to as the exoteric interpretation or the literal interpretation of these things and say, you know what, that's probably esoteric. And we as conscious-minded human beings, meaning we have to see it, taste, touch, the 5 senses, it's hard for us to think outside of that.
Right.
The only interpretation that we can derive from reading this stuff, it has to be literal. And I think they take advantage of that and manipulate that. Ancient aliens, and you know what I mean? And then we're wowed by it, like, oh, wow. And then start thinking and exploring all of those possibilities. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, man. Interesting. You know what? I've had people here that have touched on the reptilians, and they everybody, you're probably the first one that has said you have taken a step back and said, maybe I don't believe anymore. But the people that have come, men and women, have agreed that they believe in reptilians and they believe that they live on the ground here in LA.
Yeah, I've heard that too. There's stories, I believe, in the LA Times where some were spotted coming out from underground tunnels.
I've heard that too. I heard that as well. Look, let me say this. There has to be at least some type of proof for people to write about it, or unless it's just a big old hoax and they just want to,
Well, David Icke took this
the
Anunnaki concept and just married it with the reptilian concept.
Yeah.
Did he remix it?
Probably.
And to deceive the world? I mean, the great deceiver.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But then again, like for me, say I talk to David Icke, he's probably not even alive. But okay, I would say, but where did you get your info? To so that we can fact check this, or we can look into it.
And then they can point back to like secret societies. Like there's a secret society called the Brotherhood of the Snake. Bingo, there it is. There's A, it's a secret society. B, it's the Brotherhood of the Snake. I don't feel at this current moment in time in my life experience that that's to be interpreted literally. I think it's more symbolic and esoteric, and it means something deeper than our conscious minds allow us to grasp.
Okay. Like for an example, let's just say that I'm the first guy that comes out with the idea that there's a chupacabra. Okay. And I write a book, The Chupacabra. Okay. The second book, How Chupacabra Changed My Life. Chupacabra Terrifies Mexico. And I'm finally questioned. Have you ever seen a chupacabra? Well, no. But the stories that people have told me, and I based it all on that. And who are the people that you asked? Well, they probably moved on. I don't know. So there's no way for me to track anything that this guy might be telling the truth.
Right.
So that's what I would like to ask this guy, David Icke. Like, bro, where did you get this?
Right. Maybe he's a reptilian.
Exactly.
I have seen, so we're going to talk about evidence-based things.
Yeah.
I did see a video on Instagram before and this was like before the AI craze, not to say, maybe it was a computer-generated situation, but it was a video, so it wasn't a still image. And it was this girl, and she's like, just has the video camera on herself, and she's like saying, I am a reptilian. I have reptilian blood in me. And she lifts her eye, and like on demand, the lens of her eye goes from normal and like a mini blind, like a vertical blind.
Right.
And then she has like the slit that looks like a lizard eye. And this was 5 years ago, roughly. That's the only thing like that I seen like a regular human trying to claim that they have reptilian blood in them, and they did now could that be done with the contact lens?
Possibly, because a lot of magicians do things and people think that they sold their soul to the devil.
Right. I mean, look at Method Man. He wears or wore the contact lens and he looks all crazy and freaky, you know what I mean? So, but back to evidence-based, that's the only thing that I've seen like a real person claiming that they have reptilian blood. Now, granted, they didn't shapeshift,
Right.
but they were able to have their eye, the lens of their eye, go and it turned into a slit.
Oh, okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and change the channel. We're going to go talk about the Greys.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and bring up the picture of the Greys. Now, before, I've never heard them called the Greys.
Okay.
My dad, in Spanish, we used to call them Marcianos, Martians. And he would always correct us, no son Marcianos, son humanoids. That's how he would say.
Okay.
So son humanoids. And I used to always say just like him. I go, okay, pa, son humanoids. Okay. But that was my dad, and he believed. And look, I'll be honest with you, I never believed in this crap. You know, I believe in the paranormal, but I always wanted to believe in Bigfoot because he did. I wanted to believe in Martians and UFO, humanoids, because he did.
Because your father?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a rebellious act, possibly, at that point in time. You were younger, kind of like, I'm not going to follow suit.
Yes, and it's like I was raised a Catholic. I didn't want to believe in the Pope.
Right.
Like, who's that guy?
Right.
You know, I was always rebellious one. But that's why, but you know what? I'm kind of glad because when I turned 22, I had that attitude, like, I'll show them. So I started studying myself. I educated me, okay? And I started hanging around with other people that were smarter than me. That's how you get smart.
Yeah.
Hang around with people.
Smart people.
I'll tell you what, if you're in the room and you're the smartest guy, you're in the wrong room.
Right.
Okay?
I agree wholeheartedly.
So I like hanging around smart people because, look, there's something that they can give me that you can't.
Right.
Okay, so I love knowledge.
But just to backpedal just one sec to your friend that said, you know, or we have those friends that are kind of like they're weird, but you like them.
Yeah.
I've had, again, a handful of friends like you, I can count them on one hand, less than 5, that have shared information with me at one point in time. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And lo and behold,
Yes.
fast forward a decade, 2 decades, and I'm like, holy shit. Either they were right or they were on to something. They might not have been able to articulate it in a way where they had all the boxes checked.
Right.
But they had enough to be like, boom. And you'd be like, what? And so having a handful of friends like those around, I think, are beneficial to the life experience.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I've never heard them called by the Greys by my father, but until recently. So once again, the Greys refer to alleged extraterrestrial beings characterized by their small humanoid bodies, smooth gray skin, large heads, large black eyes, and small facial features, okay, who are central to many alien abduction and UFO lore. In other words, like folklore. While they are figures of folklore and pop culture, often featured in science fiction, they are also described in claims of real-world encounters, sometimes identified as Roswell UFO incident. Now, the characteristics of the Greys' appearance: they are depicted as short, frail, and hairless humanoids with disproportionately large heads, large black almond-shaped eyes, and small slit-like mouths and nostrils. Okay, origin. In the context of UFO lore, they are sometimes called Zeta Reticuli. Kind of sounds like reptilians. Okay, after the Zeta Reticuli solar system. Behavior. Accounts often describe Greys as emotionless and intellect beings who conduct experiments and alien abductions, with some stories suggesting they are involved in human hybridization. Okay. That's what we know about the Greys. The Greys, thanks to Google.
Okay.
Now, I don't know much about it because, again, growing up, I wish my dad... one thing I want to say this. Let me take the time to say this right now.
Okay.
If your father's still alive, take the time to get to know him. Not just you see him around the house or he cooks or he cleans.
Right.
Get a chance to get to know him, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I could tell you things about my father that he taught me that he never said, te voy a enseñar, or I'm going to teach you. Like, he showed me how to work a projector. You know, without telling me, I'm going to show you. I just saw him because that's what he always did.
By example.
Yes. He had a stereo. He had a collection of records. So there's a lot of things that he led by example that I learned. But I never got to ask him, what got you into collecting records, Dad? What got you into film, Dad?
Right.
You know, what got you into writing songs and singing to Mom? That's what won her heart, and that's why she married you, and that's why we're here. You know?
Right.
I never got to know that. I just know what he did. So honestly, take the time, get to know your mother and your father. Ask them these questions, because now that I have a podcast and I got hundreds of people watching, I wish I had him here.
Missed opportunity.
Yes. So anyways.
Yes. No, good
so stuff. I just wish that he was here he could kind of explain the Greys or whatever. What do you know about the Greys?
So what I know about the Greys, so first of all, the explanation that Google gave, the origin is some solar. What was the solar system?
It says they are sometimes called Zeta Reticulans, after the Zeta Reticulan solar system.
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
So that it's hard to grasp. At least with the reptilians, like,
Right.
It's from the star constellation Orion. All right. So now, during President Eisenhower's presidency in 1954, he was on vacation in Palm Springs and he disappeared. Some prematurely said that he died. The others gave an explanation. He had a dental emergency and went to the dentist, but he disappeared for a period of time. The story is he signed the Greada Treaty. The Greada Treaty was a treaty that was made between humans on planet Earth, or the United States government, and gray aliens. And the exchange was, or the treaty was, Greys are going to give us advanced technology, all of this technology, and in return, they're allowed to experiment on humans, abduct humans. They'll return the humans safely, but still be able to abduct humans, abduct animals, do all those things, but return them back. So advanced technology in exchange for human experimentation. Greada Treaty. Say, well, how do we know that's true? Because I don't believe there is a Greada Treaty document that we can read. Mm-hmm. But his daughter, later on in life, started becoming a spokesperson for this idea. Now, take it with a grain of salt. Or maybe she's, has an agenda that we don't know about. So when you describe the gray, sounds like E.T.
Yeah.
Okay. During and Eisenhower it was either Eisenhower or Truman that labeled the deep state, if you will, within the military industrial complex, and he warned us about it. He was like on his way out of his presidency, and he warned us, on TV about the military industrial complex. It sounds like, so then, look at Steven Spielberg. Looks like he just captured all of that and made a movie out of it.
Yes, yes.
That was a gray. Now let's go, so that's Hollywood, but let's go into the esoteric aspect of it. If you research Aleister Crowley, the entity that he was able to invoke and have it appear physically was an entity called Lamb. And Lamb looks, and maybe Alex can look it up, looks exactly like the gray, the big head with the almond eyes. Like, okay, so now we're getting some esoteric, influence. And then, but then around that time, have you ever seen the scene where there's UFOs flying over the White House?
Yes.
So from what I understand, that was the Greys saying, you better adhere, or we're going to flex our muscle. We're going to let these people know, because that was part of the agreement, was to keep it secret to avoid civil unrest and civil panic.
Didn't Independence Day do that?
They did, yeah. So Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting subject, but you kind of have to take a step back and say, well, technology did advance a lot from the 60s to current day.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
There's been an exponential curve. Okay, let me give you what I'm talking about. From if the scriptures are true, from the time of Adam to the early 1900s, we traveled at the speed of horseback.
Okay.
Let's just say hypothetically that man has been here 6,000 years.
Okay.
Hypothetically, okay?
Okay.
So that means within the last 100 years.
Right. Well, okay.
You see where I'm going.
Okay. So duly noted. But then how, because you brought up horses. So I'm looking at horse and wagon technology. How did they build these beautiful structures and buildings with horse and carriage technology?
You're absolutely
back
right.
then?
Yeah.
So I'm taking duly noted, like, yep.
Right.
I agree with that observation. But then I question myself and test. But look at, and there's a great documentary called Lost History of Flat Earth. And it goes into, like, what's been explained as mudslides. And there was these mudslides that took place. Basically, like, it was saying, like, this great reset idea, man, we've had more than one, and they took place in the past. They showed, like, the world fair. They had the world fairs. There was one in Chicago. They had the whole thing lit up. They had, like, moving sidewalks, like the Jetsons. And then what did they do? Like the one in Chicago, after they were all done, they blew it all up. Meaning that's right. The way they did the move out. They moved everything out and blew up all the structures. And they did it in a fast amount of time. But I go back to these older structures with horse. So you just had wagons filled up with all the
right.
raw material that you needed and did all of that with right. that type of technology.
Okay, today let's talk about the 1920s. We start to see a little fuzz on the screen. Television was invented. Mm-hmm. We can fly now. Mm-hmm. Okay, we no longer travel at the speed of horseback. Mm-hmm. Now we can call somebody and FaceTime somebody.
Right.
Okay, so within the last 100 years, there's been an exponential curve of technology. Mm-hmm. This is where I've leaned more to the scriptures, because in the book of Daniel, it will say that in the last days, the knowledge of man shall increase. Mm-hmm. In the last days.
Yeah.
I believe we're living in the last days, okay?
Okay.
And technology advances every 3 to 6 months, okay? So, but I know what you mean. So I guess my stand is like, where was all that technology for almost 6,000 years?
Right.
But one thing that we can never deny, with all the technology that we have now, that our voice can travel to Egypt if we're calling somebody direct, and they can hear us and we can communicate and FaceTime each other from around the world. How did they build the pyramids? We still have not figured that out. Now, do we need to? No, but it'll always make us scratch our head and wonder, like, how did they do it? That's when we start filling in the blanks. Maybe it was the Nephilim. Maybe it was the Hebrews when they were in slavery. Maybe,
And there's another one that has some parallels with, like, the Anunnaki is the Nephilim.
Right, right.
And again, that idea of mating with humans and creating a new species, giant species.
Right.
But you triggered something in a thought or something I remembered, again, per this documentary. So you look at the word, so you say, how did we do this, right? You look at the word cathedral, and the root word is cath, from a cathode, something that produces electricity.
Yes.
The idea is that these old cathedrals were actually like power structures. They were able to harness the energy from the sun and power up a whole city. Old castles in Europe, if they were places for habitants, there wasn't any bathrooms in any of those castles. There was no bathrooms. So if you're living in there, if it was purposed to be a living quarters, there was no bathrooms. I'm kind of getting off subject, but the cathodes, red mercury. Another, so do you see how they demonize mercury? Like, oh no, mercury. Well, you could take mercury to a crystallized state and it becomes red, and it's called red mercury. Have you ever asked yourself, how did those lighthouses stay with the lights all night long? Because they didn't have electricity.
Right.
They use red mercury, and the red mercury has, and I wish I could explain it a little bit better, but it has the capability. You could use it like as a fuel, if you will, and power things up.
Yes.
They don't want that. They can't monetize that. Why would they want you to have an abundant amount of electricity to light up your whole home, and you know what I mean?
Right.
And utilize it for domestic needs. They can't monetize that.
Right. Right.
They'll hide that technology from us. And I feel like that's why, well, I shouldn't say, I think it's an interesting idea and perspective. And I think that's why they demonized mercury. Oh, you can only use it in a thermometer. And even then, now that's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have electronic thermometers.
Yeah.
Red mercury. And in the audience, I challenge you to do some research on red mercury.
Okay. Okay. No, it's
So I guess we got off on
the
that
rays
because you made the example of how technology has sped up and you know, we're in a
short amount of time.
In a short amount of time. And we didn't have that back then. And then I challenged
correct
to think about, well, how did we get that done with horse and buggy technology?
Right. Right. That's a great point.
Scratch your head.
Yeah. Some people probably scratching the knife. Okay, we're going to go ahead and change the channel real quick. We're going to jump into the fluoride thing.
All right.
The fluoride. Now, I first heard of this, a guy at work, and I thought the guy was a kook. Okay, so I ended up leaving work around 2017. Okay, and then I hear of another kook, and I mean this in a nice way, Alex Jones, and he talked about fluoride. Okay, and I thought, what a wacko. Then I kept hearing more and more and more about it, and it started making sense. And then I asked you, what do you know about it? Oh, so fill us in on fluoride.
So, and it's funny because it kind of goes back to the Anunnaki and the Sumerians.
Okay.
If you look at their statues, and even in other cultures, the pine cone is very dominant. And the idea of the pine cone. So fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is what gives you spiritual experiences, intuitive thoughts, and what small amounts of fluoride over a long extended period of time will calcify that. It's been called the throne of God, the seat of something else, because it's that part of your brain, the pineal gland, that is your spiritual part. Like it functions as you being open to spiritual experiences in your life. So if they calcify that, you kind of just turned us into a spiritual dum-dum. Like we can't utilize.
So in other words, it's a way to take control, dumb down the generation.
Correct. Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, maybe I'm off on this, but isn't that kind of evil?
Yeah.
To take that away from a human being?
Right.
You know, we tell people, be all that you can be.
But
not
spiritually. Right.
Right. Wow.
If it can enhance your communication with your higher power, whatever audience wants to refer to the higher power.
Yeah.
If you could, why not?
I'm going to take that away from you.
Right. I'm going to take that away from you. You're mine. You're enslaved. I'm enslaving your whole spiritual process. And these older cultures glorified, but the pine meaning glorified this aspect of our existence.
Yeah. Like, okay, we're going to dumb them down, but we're going to be the higher power.
Right.
We're going to be the smart ones. Wow.
And it's just having that information and hoarding it and keeping it away from the average person. And we don't feel threatened, A, because we don't know any better, but B, because it's not anything physical that makes us into a fight or flight type situation.
You know, I'm gonna share something with you. I shared it before. I share knowledge when people ask me.
Come knocking.
Yes. people have DM'd me, have inboxed me. There's some people that I even gave them a number to call me, and we'll have a little talk. Mostly people call me and ask me, what type of Bible should I buy? Because you said don't look at it as a religious book, look at it as a history book. And I tell them that's where I get my knowledge and wisdom from, okay? And I share with them. I've had people that were close to me that have told me, don't share shit with them. Keep it all to yourself. You're smarter than them. Let them go learn it. And I'm like...
Not if they come knocking.
Yeah, I'm like, no, bro. I said, look, Brandoe, I want to be remembered for something, bro.
Right.
You know, I often like to say that I've been blessed to be a blessing. And I want to be able to say, maybe one person that goes to my gravesite and said, he answered me when I asked
learned
him.
this.
Yeah, I learned
this information.
and shared it with my
changed,
family.
And it made a change for better in my life.
There was a scripture that I've read, and it touched me forever. Okay, and it said that God called Abraham out of the Ur of the Chaldeans to be the first Hebrew. Okay, and the reason why he called him, because he said, because he will tell his children about me. And I said, wow. So it is my job not only to tell my children about him, but also to tell other people about him. Whether it's my faith, whether what translation I read, or whether it's my music knowledge, my filming knowledge, my DJ knowledge, or even my podcast knowledge. People ask me, how do you get people to tune in? Well, if they like you, they'll tune in. If they like you, they'll tune in. That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
not to sound cliche, but keep it real.
Keep it real, okay? So my whole thing is that if I can bless people before I leave, I'm going to do that. So don't try to come up to me and say, you're really saying don't help people.
Right.
Keep them dumb.
Right.
I'm not doing that, bro.
No, I don't want to do that either. And with that said, I was thinking on the drive over here, and I've thought about it before, but I never had the opportunity to share it with you. So I'm going to share it now. I am very grateful for our friendship, and I am very thankful for you allowing me to come on your platform and share the information that I have, and I have a debt of gratitude.
Oh, brother, you know what? You're a blessing, man. And we've been on each other since the 90s. Hey, you guys, for those of you guys that are into music, first, he's the guy that introduced me to JV, the neighborhood queen. He's the guy responsible. And so I thank you, not only for that, but thank you for being a friend, because I think when I was begging for interviews, I came knocking on Dash's door, and you were there.
Yeah.
You know, I forgot the name of that. Wasn't it Unity or that Dash radio? You guys gave me the interview.
Defi Radio, was it?
It was one of those, because I went through it a couple of times.
Oh, wait, yeah.
It was with the guy with the deep voice.
Right.
Ralph M was there.
Ralph M was there. It's my.
I still have our pictures.
Bad. I feel bad.
It's
I
okay.
don't remember his name.
Yeah, something like Paved the Way.
Hip hop enthusiast. Paved the way. Hip hop enthusiast. He was one of those rare individuals. He loved hip hop. That was our common denominator.
Wait, he's still alive, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You said he loved hip, like
he was going through
tense.
some troubles, but yeah, I think he's okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Alex. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, no. Right now you were talking about fluoride, right?
Yeah.
The actual element would be fluorine. Like that's what it's like, the element. Like if you're looking it up, trying to be technical about it, you know.
Okay, check me, Mr.
And
Cervantes.
also, I had found a rock of what it looks like. You know. So
I want to run.
Of a calcified pineal gland?
no, this is just what fluorine looks like.
Oh, okay.
Like if you wanted to get a visual of what it looks like.
Huh.
Okay, and then I found the alien photo that you were talking about
Lamb?
Alistair Crowley. Yeah, Lamb.
Oh yeah, show us.
Okay, so that one is right here. It would be this one.
Yeah, gray alien. Gray alien.
Yeah, that shit's pretty ugly.
And then I find it really interesting, like, and not to get political, but RFK Jr. is, made the move to ban fluoride in our drinking water, and
Really?
our tap water. Oh yeah, you didn't hear about it? Yeah, it's like done. It's legit. Ban fluoride.
And what happened?
I haven't seen the results of it yet. I mean, it's probably going to take some time.
Yeah.
But it's no longer in our tap.
I know that's what.
Or they're making the moves to,
Yeah.
like, the documents or the orders were signed. Like, it's in motion.
You know, one thing that I liked about him, at least he's in shape. Who did we have in there before? Didn't we have some Tran? Yes or no, right? We had a Tran that was overweight, that was concerned over our food.
Yeah. What was her name? It was like the Secretary of Health, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Secretary of Desserts.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyways. Anything else you want to share over there, Alex? Do we have anything? Because we're going to wrap this up. Okay. Anything else that you might have left out that you might have touched on? Because I don't want to take the calls right now, knowing that. Can you still hear out of one headphone? Let us know. This will depend on it. It's only one. Okay.
Try it.
No, I don't want to try it. I'd rather just talk a little bit about something and then just move on. Okay, so far we've talked about the reptilians, the Greys, the Anunnaki, and fluoride. Okay, there was something that we were going to touch on. I'm trying to remember.
Was it in our note?
I don't think it was in our notes. We talked about the movies. I know in the past we've talked about the what was that place called? The Grove?
Oh, Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove.
That's funny. There was a girl at the office today wearing an owl necklace. And
what?
An owl necklace.
Okay. Okay. Well, why is the owl so significant when it comes to the Grove?
Because at the Grove, at Bohemian Grove, they do a ritual called the cremation of care. I'll get to that later. But they do a ritual called the cremation of care, and they do this ritual. So in Bohemian Grove, they have this huge statue of an owl. And, you know, they do the whole ritual. They have the robes and all that good stuff. Well, not that it's good, all that stuff.
Right.
And it's Moloch. It's a representation of Moloch.
Some people say Moloch.
Moloch.
Yeah, all depends on how you want to interpret that. Now, how often does this Bohemian Grove ritual or meeting happen? Is it every year?
Once a year, yeah.
Is there a certain month?
I'm sure there is. I can't spit it off.
Okay, and who is invited or welcomed at these?
All the elite. So heads of state, prime ministers, presidents, heads of corporations, the Bilderberg Group.
Okay, so no necessarily actors, celebrities.
Yeah, if they're up there in the probably 50 million and up club. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Now, do you know where this Bohemian Grove is at?
It's up north in California, Northern California.
If you were invited, would you go?
Oh, man. I was going to say possibly out of intrigue, but no. I mean, what if they wanted to have me do something strange for a little piece of change? I don't know.
He says something strange for a piece of change. Wow. What about 30 pieces of silver?
No.
You never know.
No. No.
He didn't even enjoy that money. He took it back.
I mean, would you? Not to just say, oh, would you? But like, I want to see what this shit's about. Like, I don't want to participate. But
Right.
Okay, so if I could go and watch and observe, possibly. But if I had to go and participate and be a part of the shenanigans, no.
Right.
Because they get freaky deaky.
Now, is this like I'm asking, I don't know. I know you haven't been there. From what you know, you have more knowledge of it than me. Mm-hmm. All I know is that they meet somewhere. I believe it's outside. Is there a dinner? Is there anything that goes on?
Yeah, it's like it's a few days, if not a week.
Oh, it's a few days.
Yeah, and there's different cabins. Yeah, and they all fly in, and I mean, I believe there's landing strips. It's secluded. They even have the Bohemian Grove Club a little bit down the street, down the way, if memory serves me correct. But they have different cabins. It's camp. They're like camping for the elite. Kid Rock said he went.
He did?
Yep.
Okay, now, would they consider that demonic?
And he played it off like, oh, I was just there having a good time. I don't know, I was sitting next to so-and-so, and he played it like that.
Wow. Now, I know we would probably consider it demonic, okay? Mm-hmm. Do you think they consider it? Do you think that they know what they're doing?
So it's a cult. It's definitely a cult.
Okay.
Okay. So again, we've said this plenty of times. A cult means hidden. So it's something that's foreign to you and I, because to my knowledge, you don't belong to don't practice the occult.
Right.
And the rituals that they do, from what I can understand, are mock rituals.
Okay.
So I don't think they're literally sacrificing humans. They do the mock ritual as if they are, but I don't think they actually do kill, murder people.
You know, right now when you guys are talking about this, really sounds like you guys are talking about Burning Man.
Right?
Because
Burning Man's a microcosm of Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's kind of comparable, like the way they do things. And
I think Burning Man has a lot of occult aspects to it.
But in Burning Man, I think they charge between $1,000 to $10,000 a ticket to go. So they're making like $44 million every single time, something like that.
Right.
They're in the millions.
Wow.
Ronald Reagan's been to Bohemian. So one thing Alex Jones did do, he was able to infiltrate and get into Bohemian Grove.
Really?
Yeah. So that he has that video. Most recently, there was a freelance, just investigative journalist, researcher, and he figured out a way to get in. He got it. It wasn't active. Alex Jones got in when it was active.
How the hell did he get in?
See, that's the thing. Like,
and he goes in on the elitist, and he got in.
Right, but he didn't. He wasn't invited. He infiltrated.
Right, no, of course.
But was that by design or was that legitimate? Like, and then he was back in the day. He used to call. I think back in the beginning part of his career, he was genuine. I think somewhere along, or maybe I could have, but somewhere along the way, I know for now he's been compromised some way somehow. There is a theory that isn't even really the original Alex Jones.
Damn.
It's some other actor guy, but I won't get into that.
There's like a conspiracy for fucking everything, bro. Freaky conspiracies.
But this one guy, he got in, figured out, took like a little canoed across or kayaked across the thing, got out, went like where the dressing rooms are for the ritual and up on the stage and all, and he got in and taped it. Or that's showing my age. He got footage of it.
The video's on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia, the boxer, claims he went there.
Really?
That's what he claims.
Yeah, you got to take what he says with a grain of salt.
I know. Because you know what it is?
You want to cheer for the guy, but then
you want to cheer for him. You want to cheer for Alex. At least I do. Alex Jones. And I'm going to tell you why. Because what they're saying sounds believable, but how they're saying it and how they're acting makes you like, this fucking kook. Who's going to believe this guy?
Controlled opposition. So that's like when he might be spitting some truth when he's like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
To the average normie, they're going to be like,
What the fuck is a
You just
cowardly
lost me on
lion
the
doing?
delivery. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you lost me on the delivery of it all. Why can't you just tone it down a bit and just give it to me?
Turn it down a notch, Alex.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you know.
Controlled opposition, again, has to give you truth because it has to be able to be fact-checked and believable. Or, some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, let me see. Somebody, Smiley Z. Let me see. What's wrong? Okay, we're ready to take anywhere. What does that say? Skin what? There's one. Let me see. Skinheads. Okay. Whatever happened to the skinheads? Oh, I thought you were asking a question. Okay. Anyway, Smiley. All good. Devil worshippers. All right. Let's wrap this up, bro. Anything you want to add? If not, let's give our shout outs.
Let me just scan my brain. No. No. I think we covered more ground than I thought we would.
That's good. That's good. I wanted to take phone calls, but not when it's like this because it's only when you're in, and it's, look, I want to apologize to you guys, but we'll get the phone calls right the next time. We usually do some type of test, and we didn't do it this time because, well, I wanted to hurry up and go live, kind of rush my man, so that's my apologies. But we'll get it right next time. So if not, then maybe you.
Yeah, I think we covered, and I'm happy.
We covered a lot.
I actually prayed on the way over here, like, yo, just.
That's awesome. That's awesome, bro. Hey, I was doing the same thing right before you pulled up.
Oh.
I was doing the same thing right before you pulled up, bro.
Yeah, I just pray like, yo, help.
We should cover. We should cover like the recently the Burning Man thing because somebody died over there.
Yeah, they found him. He was just dead in a pool of blood.
And there's a big conspiracy about a place called the Orgy Dome.
The Orgy Dome?
Okay, we're gonna have to look into the
Tale.
Oh, snap.
okay,
That
the
is
Orgy Dome. We're gonna have to
freaky
look into the Orgy Dome. Okay. Other than that, shout outs, my man.
Man, a shout out my mom. I know she watches she watches when we're on. The wifey poo, my kids, Alex, and Fade and Full Barbershop. And yeah.
All good. First and foremost, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming through. I know this will not be your last time. I always have a blast. Next time, like I said, we'll definitely take some calls. But I want to thank you once again for your time.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
You know, and for your knowledge and for you sharing with the Freaky Tale fans. I also want to thank everybody that was on the live chat that decided not to give in the live chat. Once again, I apologize for the phone calls. We'll get it right. Just a technical error. Other than that, you know what? Just much love and respect. Like I said, I got a busy week. If those of you that are in the Ventura area, Sunday I will be at the Ventura Fairgrounds, and we'll be performing there. We go on around 3:00, but I'll be posting that up on the Rodeo, the Tony Vision community, and on my Tony the Wiz on Instagram. So if you guys want to attend, we'll go on at 3:00, and then Sugar Free goes on after. Monday, I'm filming something really, really big. Hopefully they'll allow me to post after. What is it that I'm a part of? I got called, and I'm taking full advantage of it. So nice. Wednesday, I want all my Freaky Tale fans to show up. Dr. Green Thumb's podcast at 2:00. If you guys do not follow him, I think it's called Be Real TV on Instagram, and the show is called Dr. Green Thumb Show, hosted by Be Real of Cypress Hill. Me and Heisey are going to be on there for the first time. I've been on there several times, but me and him are going to be on together. It's going to be funny. We're going to have a blast. So once again, I want all my Freaky Tale fans to show up to the podcast. I'll put the link in the Freaky Tales bio, and I'll put the link on the Tony the Wiz bio when I post up the flyer on Wednesday. We're going to have a great time, man. And we got a couple of more shows in October, November, and December. So be looking out, and I'm going to try to do Freaky Tales next Friday, so it'll be a week because I have so much going on. Other than that, Alex, anything you want to say?
No, shout out to the live chat.
Shout out to the live chat.
Keeping it real.
The dump truck will be at the Ventura Fairgrounds at the event Tony's going to be at, so if you want to stop by and grab some merch, feel free.
All good. Thank you. Much love and respect, and take it away, Alex, because I got to get out of here.
Jesus Christ.